What's going on? My name's Nukeman2026 and welcome back to another Black Ops 3 video. Now today I've got a really special one for you guys, and it is about this man who claims to be a ex-worker at Treyarch who left in the development for Shadows of Evil. Sorry about that, that was a text. He was an original part of the Zombies team all the way back in World at War, and he has got some very awesome information for us to read about the Shadows of Evil that he has posted on Reddit, and reading this personally got me so much more hyped for the Shadows of Evil than I originally was. However, this man has a bunch of information to be sharing, and I will be reading a big portion of it, so sit down, grab a bag of popcorn, and without further ado, let's read into the Reddit post. I was a part of the original Zombies team all the way back at World at War. I dealt heavily with the conceptual aspects of the maps as well as lore and QA. Zombies has really became something near and dear to my heart. I am no longer employed at Treyarch, but I still love Zombies. Shadows of Evil is truly something special, and that's coming from someone involved with the development of almost all the previous Zombies maps. Before I leave Zombies forever, I want to get everyone else hyped about this map as much as I am. This is not a quote-unquote leak. I just want to shed some light in the I just want to shed some light into the development and existence and what has been the best creation of the Zombies team. Shadows of Evil had a fairly long development cycle. For the first time ever, Treyarch allocated the same amount of resources that went into the development of the other two game modes, which are multiplayer and campaign. This meant that the team had to develop something new and revolutionary. We really wanted to take advantage of the new prolonged 3-year development period. We pushed ourselves in terms of features and gameplay. Our ideological baby was, of course, Shadows of Evil. It is the most detailed It is the most detailed and feature-rich map Treyarch has ever dared to create. During the initial conception period, we knew we wanted to do something decidedly different, but that didn't divert too much gameplay from a point of view. The basic idea of the map goes all the way back to DLC 3 of Black Ops 2. Admittedly, the map has changed a great deal since then, but the initial idea of having an open world city setting was what stuck. Now before I go any deeper, I want to make clear that I never saw the map out of extremely early pre-alpha phase. Everything I'm about to say are conceptual ideas, things that may or may not be in the final game. Zombies programmers are rather fickle-minded and therefore tend to change their minds at last minute. But for the most part, I am relatively confident that the final product will be something along the lines of what I'm about to describe. The core gameplay mechanics we wanted to explore and create were true next-gen map design, great storytelling and depth, different while still being familiar, the fusion of Noir and Goth, the standout cast, and the immense open world. The zombie team was greatly expanded during the development of Black Ops 3. As I said earlier, Activision allocated a lot more resources into zombies, meaning the team inevitably grew in size. Lots of developers previously involved in campaign were brought over to zombies. Activision wasn't the only one with newfound enthusiasm for the mode. The zombie team truly were excited to make something great, utilizing the next-gen architecture. I remember the concept art from the art team being spilled out non-stop, and how the team would work together to draft out the overarching mythos in the new chapter of Zombies. And once the conceptual phase was completed, our main goal turned into making a true next-gen Zombies experience, and the new hardware gave us much more room to work with. We could finally stay true to the concept without having to make any compromises. This was huge for the team, since before we were always grounded to reality by the devs because of hardware limitations. We could finally make the map of our dreams, and that's what we did. Thanks to the upgraded hardware, we were able to develop a true open world. The size and the scope of the map is comparable to some open worlds that constitute entire games. It is absolutely massive, and thanks to the 3-year development cycle, we were able to meticulously scrutinize every polygon of the game's reality. Everything in Shadows of Evil is thought out, and there's universal purpose to the occurrences and the objects in the map. Everything is there for a reason, and it all makes sense. This leads me to the next point. Great storytelling and depth. Thanks to the popularity of Mob of the Dead, we wanted to make something similar. Shadows of Evil exists in a different bubble than Mob of the Dead, but they're unmistakably connected. The entire map is self-sustained, meaning this particular chapter starts and finishes in the same map, which means the crew will only be along for this map, and no future DLC is planned directly continuing the storyline. We really wanted to tell a fully thought out story in one offering. The general story is amazing, not only in the obvious things, but also how it ties into the overall story. Treyarch has been telling for the past 8 years. I can't reveal too many details, but what I can say is that you'll be glad you weren't spoiled. The story is perfectly fused with gameplay, and it truly is something unique. In Zombies, there are many branching storylines that are connected, but in that divert in some ways from one or another, like Origins diverts from the normal continuum of Zombies, which is the storyline with the blown up Earth and all that. We wanted to do something similar with Shadows of Evil. This storyline is very similar to Mob of the Dead in this sense. It's sort of connected to everything else, but it's really its own thing. So don't go expecting Moon or Origins just in the terms of the backstory. And the team wanted to make something new that stood on its own, and in terms of story, it's just that. Again, I can't reveal too much, but the story deals a lot with sin and morality, and there's also a mysterious evil that's at the center of all this mayhem. Think Samantha, but more Cthulhu rather than sci-fi. Now it seems this list goes on for days about what this man talks about and describing the Shadows of Evil and the development of the game, but I have taken some notes of some interesting facts he let out now and then during his description and the development of the game. Okay, so let's go down the list here, starting with that Shadows of Evil is definitely larger than Green Run. He claims that this map is so open world that it has the capacity of open worldness to other games. Like he had said earlier in that post, Treyarch had to drag people from the campaign just to work on Zombies, and that Treyarch has put as much time as they do in multiplayer and campaign into Zombies. So yeah, that kind of gives you the basic general idea of how big the map will be. Plus, imagine when they said Transit was their biggest map yet to date, and imagine how big Transit actually was. Even though the map sucked, it honestly was pretty big. And him saying that Shadows of Evil is definitely bigger than that, and making it an open world map, in my eyes, that's pretty freaking big. Anyways, he also goes on to say that there are going to be a ton of small Easter eggs, just like back in the World at War days, that may just in fact take people years after the game to figure out what they are. And apparently we haven't even finished the Easter eggs from previous Zombies maps, so when Shadow of Evil comes out, we're gonna have a pretty big load on our plate. Anyways, Treyarch despised what Neversoft, which is the company that helped develop Zombies from Advanced Warfare, what they did with Zombies. So Treyarch hated it. They learned from their mistakes. We thought that Advanced Warfare learned from Call of Duty Ghosts and learned from their mistakes, but no. Now we know that Treyarch is definitely smart enough to know, hey, we're not going to have any advanced movements in this game, no exo boost, nothing that we got in multiplayer. We're not going to have any of that. We're going to keep it the same basic general idea that we've always kept Zombies to be. Now he goes on to say that Pack-a-Punch is reimagined just like in Origins, and buildables are a lot more central to the gameplay, so all the buildables in the game are going to be similar to the 1930s or 40s, whichever era it occurs in, and that there's a whole new perk dynamic to the game, which are the gumball machines. And if this info is actually legit, that means say goodbye to Perca-Cola machines, at least for this map, and say hello to temporary powers in the gumball machines, because if you think about it, in the trailer there is a gumball that a man eats that makes the zombies go away from him, and at some point you gotta die in the game, so obviously that's temporary. Now there might be a gumball machine that gives you permanent perks, but we don't know that yet. Okay, so from now on I'm not gonna go into detail about everything I listed down just so I can keep the video not longer than it already is. So next up, he says that there are lots of lucid occurrences that you've never seen in Zombies maps before, and I'm assuming this means when that man or woman randomly turn into a tentacle squid monster thing, stuff like that. They also made sure that Zombies fans would have a deeper connection to the characters in the Shadows of Evil storyline, due to the lack of connection in the Black Ops 2 characters from Transit. Now with that, he also added some side notes himself, starting off with that Shadows of Evil is on another storyline, but the Origins storyline will still be continued. Also, something that I found really funny that he noted was that the internal name for Shadows of Evil was actually SFT, which is sorry for Transit, because as you may know, Transit was not a very big success to most Zombies fans. Now one more thing I decided I actually wanted to add before we go is that the Giant, which is the remake of Der Riese, is a remake, not a remaster, meaning the map of the layout is the same, but virtually everything else has changed. The characters are the same ones from Origins, and the map side quest essentially combines the Origins storyline with the whole blown up Earth storyline. Honestly, I actually had to go onto the internet and look up what the difference was between remake and remaster, so yeah, I put them on screen just in case you guys couldn't tell the difference either, so there you go. Anyways, I know I have been talking for an extremely long time, and I have to thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. So if you did watch all the way through, you can go ahead and pat yourselves on the back and give yourself a congratulations, and I'll go ahead and give you guys a gold star. If this made you any more excited for the new Shadows of Evil map, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up before you go, and don't forget to subscribe for more Black Ops 3 content. My name's NukeMan2026, and I'll see you guys in the next one.